Yes, my friends, even Mitt Romney, the dad you ask when your other Republican dads say no, is going along with Mitch McConnell's plan. That's from Trevor Noah, and the late night shows will kick us off on today's Daily Comedy News. Trevor again. And I know some people were holding out hope that he would refuse to help the Republicans push through before the election, but for some reason, people always forget that Mitt Romney is still a conservative senator from one of the most conservative states. People act like Mitt Romney came into the Senate with a pussy hat on, but no, he's only moderate compared to Cinnamon Hitler. Trevor, and getting a majority on the Supreme Court is what Romney and other Republicans have been dreaming about for 50 years. On his bedroom wall growing up, Romney had a poster of Superman, a dancing horse, and an empty Supreme Court seat. Jimmy Kimmel said this morning the president wrote, "I will be announcing my Supreme Court nominee on Saturday at the White House. Exact time TBA. There's nothing Trump loves more than announcing he's going to make an announcement. He's a real TBA hole, this guy." Kimmel, I wonder if the reason why they are doing this, why they are revealing themselves to be utter hypocrites, has occurred to Donald Trump. If Republicans thought he was going to win, they'd just wait, but they're not waiting. They want to do it now because they think he's going to lose. I wonder if this has dawned on him yet. Mr. President, we need to make this happen before you're back at Mar-a-Lago screaming at the housekeeping staff. Jimmy Fallon said, that's right. 51 out of 53 Republicans are now on board, while the other two stick out like masks at a MAGA rally. Fallon, and now it sounds like a vote could be held in just a few weeks. Man, we haven't seen Republicans move this fast since Men's Warehouse at a closing sale. Fallon, seriously, you can tell Senate Republicans are loving life right now. They haven't been this happy since Blue Bloods started streaming on Hulu. Fallon, it's pretty wild the Republicans are in favor of Trump's nominee, and he hasn't named one yet. Even the people who got engaged on Love is Blind were like, don't we want to see who it is first? And Fallon said, how do you agree to put someone on the Supreme Court before you know who they are? I don't even pick up a phone call when I don't know who it is. Fallon's writers, you guys have tremendously rebounded since I gave you grief earlier in the year. Jimmy Fallon's jokes right now have been top of the game lately. Stephen Colbert is in a slump. Just saying. From Vulture, Patton Oswalt will perform a virtual comedy show for fans in October called Keep Your Distance. It will include an hour of all-new stand-up followed by a, quote, after party where he will field questions from the audience. Patton said, I am sparing no expense to bring you the best-looking, best-sounding at-home comedy experience. I just checked this one corner of my living room for lighting and acoustics, and I plan to check another corner maybe next week. I've traveled all over the planet, bringing laughter and joy and healing, but now I am walking 10 yards into my guest room to yell at a computer screen while the world burns down outside. Experience the horror. Take my hand. We shall die together and become immortal. And there's some dick jokes. Tickets for this thing are $15. It takes place Friday, October 23rd at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you want to put it on your calendar, you can get tickets on Location Live. That's the On Location Live, not Location Live. I misspoke there. On the, quotes, On Location Live, unquotes, website. Boy, I made a mess of that, huh? A portion of the proceeds will go to the nonprofit organization Alice's Kids. They perform short-term financial help to children in need. Again, October 23rd, onlocationlive.com. Hannibal Buress, he's touring the parking lots. Been telling you a lot about that. He's also working on a podcast. It's called Splitting Tens, where he co-hosts with a former casino dealer. This from Indie Star. Hannibal talked about an unwritten rule of blackjack where you don't ask for another card when you have a 17. It's generally acknowledged, says Indie Star, 17 is close enough to the unbeatable hand of 21 that a player foolishly risks busting his or her hand by hitting on 17. To make matters worse, Buress was sitting at third base, which is the last player spot at the table, before the dealer reveals his or her hand. Hannibal says, I haven't done it that much. You do have to be really strong in the moment to do that with other people at the table. This is what it's about, gambling peer pressure. Hannibal tells us he busted, and the dealer drew to 21, and all the players at the table lost. In the big picture, a $10 a hand blackjack table adds up to minor drama. Hannibal said, nobody's life is about to change because of anything that happened here. If he didn't hit on 17, I would have started winning. Then I would have been on a roll. I would have won $100,000. Then I would have put that in Tesla. Nobody's life is shifting from the blackjack table like that. From the Interrobang, Bert Kreischer has a new thing. It's called The Cabin with Bert Kreischer, a 5-episode reality series based on the larger-than-life personality of Bert Kreischer. The trailer's out now. Here's the premise. After years on the grind, Bert Kreischer sets out on a purifying retreat to a remote cabin to cleanse his mind, body, and soul. He is joined by celebrity friends as he attempts bizarre therapy techniques, intense physical challenges, and ridiculously improvised encounters with nature. The Interrobang calls it The Kardashians for Comedy Fans. It's on Netflix October 13th, and episode 1 features Tom Segura, Joey Diaz. Later episodes feature Big J, Bobby Lee, Nikki Glazer, Joey Diaz again, and even Caitlyn Jenner. I had told you that the Austin Cap City Comedy Club closed last week. In Texas Monthly, comedian Brian Garr wrote their obituary, and he said, "National comics loved Cap too. It was a chance to hang out in a cool city and tell jokes to an appreciative crowd." Patton Oswalt recorded an album there in 2006 with the now famous greeting, "I'm drunk, here we go." As a venue, Cap wasn't ideal. It was situated under an overpass, really, part of a strip mall in North Austin, about 8 miles from downtown, with an ever-rotating cast of neighbors. There was the karate studio, there was the computer repair shop, there was the Romanian restaurant, there was the loud church. Cap's big room seated about 400 people, mostly in a long cafeteria-style tables that faced one another instead of the stage. That was a weird choice, because you had to turn your head to see who was performing, not the most natural thing, and for years, the stage had a painfully ancient backdrop. Crisscrossing steel beams and colorful lights. If you ever watched a comedy special in the 80s, you know the type, but who cares? You don't go to a comedy club for the aesthetics. As for Cap City, it's now another deceased Texas institution, one of those you should have been there, subject of stories told and retold by people who caught a show there. It will live on in legend, but while it actually existed, it was never trendy, never cool. It simply did its job year in and year out. If you went on a Friday or a Saturday, or maybe the $7 punch nights on Tuesday, you were almost guaranteed to have a good time. I love that. You were almost guaranteed to have a good time, to laugh your butt off, buy your 2 drinks, and forget about your regular boring life. And from Gothamist, those New York City comedy club owners, they really want to open. They are all over the news. Cambry Cruz is the owner of venue QED Astoria, and she was the organizer of a rally outside the New York Comedy Club. She said, "This is serious business. This is not a laughing matter. We are holding this rally to ask New York State to give live entertainment the same consideration they've given other industries. For over 6 months, there's been no rent relief and plan for us to reopen. New Yorkers can go indoors to the gym, bowling, go gambling casinos, but not a comedy club. It makes no sense." That's your comedy news for today. There's so many places to subscribe now, I won't even list them, but you can follow on Spotify and tell Adam Sandler I said hi. See you tomorrow.